What's up, everyone? What a day yesterday. I had all these plans to make a bunch of videos yesterday, and I did a couple, but I was overloaded with phone calls yesterday because I was getting back from Texoma. There was a whole conversation about Texoma with a whole bunch of people. Hopefully we get into it one day, but I still got some more phone calls to make. But we'll get into that eventually. That's I hope we do one day. I hope we get into that whole Texoma Bass Champs thing because wow, there's so much to uncover there. It's a lot. But I'll save that for another day. We also got into the Ultimate Angler Championship. And I had, like I said, this group of people we talked to that I'm around that fish these things. Some of them are sponsors, tournament directors, all kind. I got talking to all of them yesterday. We all got into a whole bunch of things, and all great conversations. It was great. The Ultimate Angler Championship got brought up a bit, and we were just talking about that, and I was telling them about my video and things like that. And here's, sometimes I have to talk this out with people before I really even understand what really went on. So this is a video. It's not that it's not a video for us older guys or anyone over 30 or 40. And I doubt very many young people are going to watch this. So maybe y'all will pass this on to some high school kids and college kids and guys in their 20s. Okay. I even brought this up a little bit yesterday about how sometimes the younger guys don't really know what they're arguing for or what fishing could be or has been or whatever. So let me explain. I don't know much about the Ultimate Angler Championship. I think it was kept very hush-hush on purpose by the guys that realized it was going to happen. I shouldn't even expose it. I would have probably done this too. But they didn't want it to get too big. And what I mean by too big is they didn't want too many people signing up for this thing because that way they could qualify for it. And they knew how much money it was going to be. And that's on me. I did a bad job of not like informing myself, but I kind of told y'all why in the video yesterday. I just want everyone to understand what really went on. I want the older guys to understand what really went on. The older people, when I say older people, I'm going to 30. Everyone over 30 needs to understand what really went on. And then everyone under 30 needs to realize that this can happen. And this is what they should strive for. Okay? So everyone over 30, listen. Do y'all realize that they just had a tournament that was so much bigger than the Classic in every form? Every form except the hype of it and and all the vendors and sponsors and all that things. Man, listen, that's great and everything. I'm talking to y'all as a fisherman, straight up guy who wants to make a living fishing. They just pulled off a tournament where they gave away $500,000 to first place. Do you realize that? I know it's not twice as much, but it's almost twice as much as the Classic gives away. So put this into perspective, guys. They had a tournament, $500,000 to first, and there was no coverage of it. There was no hype for it. They didn't sell out arenas for it. They didn't invite, 300 vendors to come there and auction off spots for all these sponsors to do all these things. They didn't have, I don't know if it is 100,000 people show up to the Classic between all of it. They didn't have all that. It wasn't on TV. They didn't, and yet $500,000 went to first place. Bass doesn't want to hear this. They blew Bass's payout so far out of the water. This is not even funny. And are we even going to talk about second place and third place and fourth place? And the top 10 was $1 million. I keep on trying. I'm not even knocking them. They did such a bad job of like advertising this that they didn't. I don't even know how much they paid. I heard they paid a crazy amount down the field. This is what I have always wanted for tournament fishermen. Now, honestly, I wanted a little bit different, but I'll take this. If this is the first step, this is the biggest, best first step ever. I know it was one event. It doesn't matter that it was one event. If one event can change to next year for one event, it's a freaking giant step in the right direction. That's like one event a year that they pay out way better than the Classic, which is the best payout ever, and they blew that away. Does everyone realize and grasp what just went on without all the hoopla? I'm always doing these videos, and I'm always talking about the money in tournaments and how to make money in actual tournaments, not this BS sponsor stuff. And I'm going to get into the BS sponsor stuff because I get sick and tired of hearing about it from people. And there's nothing wrong with sponsor stuff. I'm just going to explain it more. But they gave this money away to actual people just going out there and fishing a tournament. I don't mind the coverage stuff. Like I do coverage of tournaments. I'm working on stuff right now. Now my private channel is going to be like they're always getting that stuff. They're always getting the freaking behind, like, but the real deal tournament coverage from practice, all that. That's all my private channel is, just about, and stuff behind the scenes. But man, this is what tournament fishing could one day be like. It could. I don't know. I just want to throw that out there. I don't think people really grasped what really went on this past weekend. And I didn't talk much about it, but I'm talking about it now because it needs to be known. That's insane. Now, why I bring up the sponsor stuff. So I was talking to a sponsor yesterday, and we were just talking about the fishing in Texoma, and he fished the tournament too. Like I said, there was tournament directors in this event. There were sponsors that I know that fished the event, and I kind of, I share my mind, and I was just going, yeah, this sponsor stuff, because I talked to a guy the other day that fishes professional, I don't know whatever you want to call it, and we got into this whole sponsor thing, and I understand where they're coming from, but let me explain something to y'all. The sponsor thing to me, the sponsor thing has ruined fishing. It ruined fishing and set fishing back. We talked about it with Dave Mercer the other day. That at one point in time, FLW had this great deal with Walmart and did all this stuff, right? And they were paying out great amounts of money. And it was awesome for the anglers and everyone. And I'm like, what's wrong with that, Todd? Well, moving forward, what happened is they did all this, and they in my opinion, what happens is you get connections. Okay, you get a connection with someone, and then you show them this like game plan of what you're gonna do, right? And you're gonna promise all these things, and I think they're not really promises. Now, you think they might be, but it's not going to work out the way both parties think. And chances are the guy who's putting up the money and doing all this kind of looks at this as like, oh, this might be a really good deal for me. What happens is it turns out not to be a good deal. They don't see the return on their investment. And then they leave. And they roll out. And that's what happens. Because what's going to happen is from what I've seen in fishing, and maybe this is just the world in general, but really bad in fishing is that this weird sponsorship and the way these people in fishing think, and they think since there's no money involved, they chase this other thing, right? So if there's not a whole bunch of money to be won in tournaments, then they chase the sponsorships. The problem is so you're going to promise all these things to these sponsors, and these sponsors are like going to help you out. And the next thing you know, you really they don't get the return. And it puts a bad taste in their mouth. And they see this, they're like, man, is this guy he just wants to travel around and fish and is just trying to get money from me. And he's really not fulfilling his part of it. And even if he does, is anyone really interested in what this guy has to say? And is anyone buying this stuff because of it? I think this goes on constantly, which means people are always They're always grasping at things. And then all of a sudden, like, these people get tired. I've talked to way too many people in the business that like get these emails, and they show me these emails and messages from people of going, give me this. You need, I want to be I need this to fulfill my dream to be a professional fisherman. And it's just like, I can't believe people actually say this stuff in emails. I'm just telling you, it goes on, and they're just like, do you know this guy? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of this person. This goes on all the time, constantly. And I think it's ruining our sport. And the real true sponsorships that are coming, and Ish Monroe has gotten into this as well. What he looks at it is like a sponsorship is like, I feel sorry for that guy, or I want to help that guy out, and I'm going to give him money without anything looking in return. That's what a lot of sponsorships are, is they're giving money to someone because they think that they need help, or that's the only way that they can make it in fishing, which is kind of true for 99.9% of most people, which is what I never wanted to be involved with. I never wanted to be reliant on someone else to go fishing, right? And that's good for some people if they want to do that. And I'm not even knocking it. I'm just saying that's where the sport is skewed, because so many people aren't making money within the actual sport of fishing. They're making it through these other weird deals of slash sponsorships slash handouts. Okay? And it's not real. I mean, they're making money, some people are, but it's not, that's a skewed system. It's a bad system. I don't know how very few people are going to win in that system. And eventually you just run out of people to give you money sometimes, or I don't know. Maybe people have money to just be thrown around to people. That's the part that, like, I don't really even know where to go with that, except the fact that, like, man, it feels dirty. It doesn't feel right. I guess if people are okay with giving away money that they're not going to get back in return to help someone out, that's fine. I've never asked for something like that. That's wild to me. Even when I talk to sponsors, I'm like, hey, like, even like my YouTube, the last couple of sponsors I've had, they've come to me because they've seen what I've been able to do and then tried to partner up. And that partnership is great. Like, I understand that deal. Like, okay, and most of the people are super, super happy with what I do. They could care less about me fishing the elites or any of that stuff, right? I'm just trying to be truthful and honest on YouTube and try to show y'all what I can and do it that way. And I know I got into the Ultimate Angler Championship and have gone into sponsorships, but I wanted to explain why I think this other system is such a skewed system, and why people are getting in trouble, in the sense of, I think we're setting people up to fail, is what I'm saying, right? Now, I also think that we're lying to our younger fan base. And I've always said that there's a fan base out there that has so much money that it doesn't matter. Some of these young kids don't understand, like, how's that guy get to go fish all the time? Like, he doesn't need any of that. He can go fishing anytime he wants to, because money is not an issue. And then you got other kids trying to make it, and they're trying to go off of what this so-called good advice is. And I'm like, is it really good advice to go out there and just ask people for handouts? Is that I guess it's a job. It's just not a job that I would think that, like, that's not how our system should work. And what we should be teaching people is like the sponsorships and things like that. And I'm like, what do you have to offer? Because 9 times out of 10, if you're young, you don't have much to offer. I wouldn't have had much to offer when I was young. I bring all that back to the Ultimate Angler Championship because I'm like, they just pulled this off. Now, I'm not going to lie. I have no idea how. I'm going to promote the heck out of it. I have nothing to do with it. I'm going to promote it because they figured out how to do it. All the props to them. That's why. Because, you can make some money doing this. At some point in time, once you start making more money in the actual fishing tournaments, which everyone says doesn't happen, which is a lie. I've done it. There's a couple of us that have done it. Then you're able to, like, sponsorships should almost be sponsorships. See, the difference is this. 99% of most fishermen look at their sponsorships, like professionals and all this stuff, and they take the money from sponsors as what they live on, and the fishing is bonus. And I look at it as the opposite. I'm like trying to make all my living from fishing tournaments. If I make anything on the sponsorship side, that's bonus. That's what I've always tried to do. Because then I'm not reliant on the sponsorships. I'm relying on my ability to make money fishing. That's the whole point. So if they had 10 of these a year, if they had 10 of those Ultimate Angler Championships a year, whatever the system would be, it could be horrible too. It could be a horrible system to qualify in, and a lot of money. I would do that, because once you get there, that's money, guys. That's making, it's not even like crazy money, but in the fishing world, it's crazy money. They did a phenomenal job. I don't know how they did it. I hope it keeps going. I hope they figure this out. I hope it spreads. I hope, I don't know what I hope. I hope all that. And I wanted to bring that because we got to talking about that, and I didn't even grasp how big of a deal it was. And I wanted to share that with y'all, because y'all need to realize and share that with some of these young guys and go, look, that's what it could be like. So when you're thinking about tournaments and you want to, like, and some people don't want to push this cause. Maybe I'm the only one that wants to fight for more money for fishermen. I feel like sometimes I'm the only one fighting for it. And not an extra grand here, 2,000, like that money kind of push for it. That's what I want. They did awesome. That's what we need. Now, once again, I'm a guy who fished for money, and if you're young, and here's the problem, if you're young and you're growing up fishing, and you're 18, 19 years old, and somehow you're already around a $100,000 boat, chances are you're looking more for just the notoriety and win tournaments, and the money part is just bonus stuff to you because it's irrelevant. So it's probably falling on deaf ears anyways, what I'm saying. But I'm saying anyways. Maybe there's a couple people, maybe there's a couple young guys out there that like, hey man, well, it'll resonate with them. That's what I got to say today.